Today's rally is really important in uniting different community groups together, showing the council that our struggle is collective and that the violation of one individual person's right infringes on the rights of everyone in this community.
To get started, why do we exist? We exist because
1 year ago, almost to this day, we won a commitment from Waltham Forest Council to divest from arms companies. They also promised to divest from all companies that are complicit in human rights abuses. 1 year on, and they've divested from some physical weapons companies, but there are still millions invested in companies which enable Israel's indiscriminate bombing in Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, as well as its occupation, apartheid and genocide in Palestine to continue. The council's pension funds still invest in Caterpillar, a company which provides armed tanks to the Israeli military. They still invest in and bank with Barclays. We demand that the council divest from all complicit companies and end all contracts with these companies too. Divest! Divest! We will not stop, we will not rest!
Divest! Divest! We will not stop, we will not rest!
We think it's important to not let our divestment campaign be narrowed or reduced by the council to a single issue, as we do not live single-issue lives and our struggles are deeply connected. Throughout our campaign, we have seen that it is mobilising and connecting with our neighbours, which built our power to win our campaign. We won because we all came together to challenge the violence and indifference of the UK government and its bureaucratic organisations of councils and middlemen. In the spirit of the anti-fascist mobilising which happened in Walthamstow last summer, we know that our strength is in our numbers, as a big and bold coalition of local groups and residents who are going to stand up to fascism in this borough and in Palestine, as a united voice that is going to stand up for social, climate and economic justice.
And we must let the councillors know, the elected councillors, just as we must let our elected parliamentarians know, that they are elected to serve us. And right now, this is the 99% versus the 1%. The 99% who are here, working class communities, people who run shops and businesses, people who, if they just got ill for a couple of days, could lose their rent or their mortgage. And we will stand together against the corporations who are destroying our environment, destroying our democracy and destroying our communities. Because Keir Starmer and Echoed in that building will tell us there's no money to refurbish buildings. They'll tell us there's no money for the disabled. There's no money to protect those who are the poorest. But friends, there is plenty of money left. Since COVID, billionaire wealth in this country has doubled, whilst our public assets have been stripped away. So friends, I am here tonight to say, it is time to tax the rich. The choices we are talking about tonight, to cut disability benefits, to cut public services, to cut our community services, are all results of political choices. Political choices, they will say, are tough choices they have had to make. But why are they never tough choices for fossil fuel barons? Why are they never tough choices on arms sales companies or oil and gas companies? Why was the tough choice not to spend £15 billion on nuclear warheads at a time where we have people sleeping on the streets? Friends, it is time to make different political choices, and if they do not do that, it is time to meet them at the ballot box and to vote differently.
I'm Zach Polanski. I'm Deputy Leader of the Green Party of England and Wales. I'm outside Waltham Forest Town Hall because the community are not happy, and I'm here in solidarity. Tonight there were lots of different groups, people protesting against disability cuts, demanding community spaces were open, speaking out against the genocide in Gaza and speaking out for divestment in this building. And what is really clear is people know more and more that if they're not happy with their elected councillors, they can vote differently. So if national government, this this Labour government and the Labour Council want to keep saying there's no money left and making excuses, people know there is plenty of money left, and it is time to tax for rich. It's time to make different political choices. So I'm here to let people know that the Green Party exists, other movements exist, and if Labour will not get their act together, as they're not, then I hope you come join our movement, because this is how we make change in the community. I want to make sure that Labour are more scared of losing votes and seats to the Green Party than to reform. Far too often we see Keir Starmer and Labour politicians appeasing the right, talking nastily on migration, protecting the wealth of the super rich, and not standing up for our working class communities. The difference the Green Party would make would be to tax the rich, to stand up for the marginalised and those people, to help reduce people's bills and make that argument. The Green Party can and will be a bolder party that can speak out and hold the powerful to account. This is ultimately about the 99% versus the 1%, the elites who are destroying our environment, destroying our democracy and destroying our communities. And we stand with the 99%.
My name is Lucy. I came down as a member of Disabled People Against Cuts and a few different disabled people's organisations, and as a Walthamstow resident. Yeah, came to give a speech on those issues. In terms of what is going on in Waltham Forest, there have been budget cuts to mainly social care in the tens of millions. There is also a huge lack of accessible housing, both financially and physically. Day centres and other services and provisions for disabled people are always at risk of closing or have already been announced to be closed. But beyond that, Waltham Forest is investing in arms companies and fossil fuel companies that lead to the disablement of millions of people across the planet. And as Waltham Forest residents, we should be outspoken about that. When we're on our own, people don't listen to us as much. People don't listen until you make them listen, until you make a lot of noise, until you make a lot of demands, until you're very organised. They don't understand individual resistance, so we have to collectivise to be the most powerful. We also don't live single issue lives. So like I was saying about disablement within the borough and outside of the borough, it's the same with my issues with disability justice issues, housing issues, public services and public spaces. These are all interconnected issues, so it's important for all of us to speak collectively to make sure that every angle of our experience and our lives are being represented.
Hi there, my name's Jonathan. I'm from the London Renters Union. We're a group of 7,000 renters across London who support each other with housing issues and fight for a fairer housing system. We're here today because the council, quite simply in Waltham Forest, does not act in the best interests of local people, of residents. We live in a borough that's unaffordable, that invests in genocide, that forces the most vulnerable people out and closes down community centres. And we, as local residents, as local campaign groups, got together to say something needs to be done. It's the local elections next year in May, and we said we won't vote for any candidate who doesn't support our demands for economic, social and climate justice. That's why we're here today. It's a full council meeting. The councillors are inside voting on dodgy budget cuts and dodgy investments, and we came outside so that they know local residents aren't having it, and that if they don't change their tune by next May, we won't vote for them. All different local groups have come together. There's 9 of us so far, but loads more people have come today to get involved. But so far, our demands are: 1, divest from genocide. The council currently invests loads of money in genocide. We don't want that. 2, build more social housing. Just off camera here is 2 huge blocks being built on public land by big private developers, and these homes are not going to be affordable. We need social housing in this borough to be built. Any home built on public land should be social housing. 50% of homes built on private land, we want to be social housing. Demand 3 is this borough agreed to be a borough of sanctuary, and yet still it's taking part in things like immigration raids. We think the council needs to live up to its promise and actually be a borough of sanctuary for vulnerable migrants. Number 4 is no one should be forced out of the borough. We see situations where people have spent their whole life here, they've lived here, they've built their community here, but because their landlord evicts them or the council won't house them, the council tries to ship them off to places as far as Stoke. No one should be forced out the borough. The 5th demand is that we need the council to protect community centres. We see so many landlords raising the rents on local buildings operated by community centres, and these community centres are forced to close down. And that's not acceptable. We need these spaces for our children, for our local groups to use. And that's why we're here today. We're going to keep working on these demands. We're going to get public input from all the local residents who want to be involved, and we're going to refine them. But whatever they end up being, and they will be very similar to what I just said, next May, we won't vote for any candidate who doesn't support them.